clearly seen a week ago in Parliament, my brothers and sisters, when the government operated in the most dishonest and oppressive manner during the property tax debate. Friends, given the draconian measures and negative impacts that property tax would have on our nation, all of our UNC members of Parliament were prepared to speak. They were prepared to fight for you on behalf and to tell government about this burden and the hardship that it would bring upon you. However, at the beginning of the sit-in, the leader of government business, Camille Robinson-Regis, indicated that they would not be completing the debate on Friday, but would be sending up only 3 speakers initially and would be obliged for us to do the same. As a parliamentary bench, we all agree that this would be in the best interest. But brothers and sisters, as soon as our second speaker, and that was Barry Padara, the fighter, had concluded his debate, government got up and concluded and ended the sit-in, brothers and sisters. They ended the debate. Friends, not only did they break our agreement, but they denied over 350,000 of you who are represented by the opposition MPs from having a voice. It was clear that the government moved swiftly to muzzle the opposition, as both of our members, the MP for Tabaquit and the MP for Princess Tong, who had spoken thus far, had significantly highlighted how this administration is seeking to financially cripple the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago with its property tax. It is important to remember that this is a government who is afraid of the truth. They were afraid that our members continue to expose the Prime Minister, who in 2009 spoke against the same property tax. We must never let the population forget that. Keith Rowley in 2009, December 18, 2009, voted against this property tax, my brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, this is a government that continues to show contempt and disregard for parliamentary process. At the last sitting on Friday, the same Prime Minister yet again displayed he's not fit for public office when he verbally attacked MP Dr. Mrudal Munilal. You all remember that? By saying, what did he say? Meet me out on the pavement. Which national leader responds like that? It is belittling for high office holders to be alluding to any form of violence, as it sets a bad example for our nation and our youths. We have seen that this behavior has now passed on to his ministers, where the Minister of Education has also verbally abused my brother, my friend, my colleague, the MP for Couva South. And I want to say to them, they touch one, they touch all of us here tonight. This is a government that has outlived its usefulness. Anytime a government fails to protect its citizens, anytime a government constantly burdens its citizens, and anytime a government restricts the freedom of expression in our parliament, as was done during the property tax debate, this isn't a government. This is tyranny. Brothers and sisters, these are just the signs of a government that has lost its way. A government that has nothing better to offer the people of Trinidad and Tobago but broken promises. This is a government on its way out, my brothers and sisters. I now want to turn to Tobago. Brothers and sisters, it is indeed hurtful and shameful and unacceptable the level of distress and hardship the people of Tobago has been in administration. Never before in the history of our nation has Tobago been made to suffer so much because this government has failed to properly fix and restore the inter-island sea bridge. Imagine after 30 months of a PNM government, the sea bridge, which has been always functional underneath us, is now in crisis. Brothers and sisters, don't let them fool you. On Friday, when they laid the Tobago self-governance bill in Tobago, about Tobago, that wasn't out of genuine concern for the people of Tobago. That was a deflection tactic, my brothers and sisters. The PNM boasted that this bill will help Tobago achieve its development goals. Tonight, I say, Prime Minister, how can Tobago achieve its development goals if the people of Tobago can't even get cricks and cheese on time from Trinidad? They can't even get essential goods for their businesses. Friends, you might have thought it is one thing that the Prime Minister got right, was taking care of the Tobago people. I want to repeat that. Friends, you might have thought if it's one thing this Prime Minister would have gotten right, was taking care of the Tobago people. Because after all, he's a Tobagonian. But what we have seen as a leader, he failed the people of his hometown, failed the communities of Tobago that he grew up in, failed the land that nurtured him. If Rowley can fail Tobago so badly, no wonder he's failing entire Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. When you look at the sea bridge crisis that has been plaguing this nation for the past year, you can clearly see it has been caused by the government's incompetence, lack of transparency, and underhandedness. When the Superfast Glacier stopped sailing in April 14, 2017 last year, it wasn't that the company had just decided to stop offering its service. It's because this government made no moves to secure the service, my brothers and sisters. They made no move to have any alternative in place. So in 2017, when this nation was without a ferry service for the first time, it was because this government sat idly by and did nothing. Why would a patriotic government, as they call themselves, do this, my brothers and sisters? We must ask that question. Why are they suffering the people of Tobago? Then on July 24, 2017, when citizens thought they were actually getting a solution, you know what they got? The Cabo Star, my brothers and sisters, with a one-year contract. You remember the Cabo Star? And the Prime Minister said that contract costs more monthly than a Superfast Glacier. But friends, you must remember this wasn't the end of our problems, because citizens were told that after a week after the Cabo Star arrived, the Ocean Flower 2 was supposed to be here, my brothers and sisters. What our citizens actually got was the bubble of the century, my brothers and sisters. The Ocean Star Flower never arrived on time. Then came the damning report. The boat was being reviewed by the port engineers and the CEO of the port at the time, Mr. Leon Grant. They got rid of Mr. Leon Grant. They got rid of the CEO, Ms. Lewis. They identified several shortcomings and problems with the vessel. Following their inspection in Panama, they had to terminate the contract, my brothers and sisters. Imagine since August 2017, the Prime Minister has been promising the people of Tobago a new passenger ferry. Brothers and sisters, nearly 1 year later, the people of Trinidad, more and more so Tobago, has been betrayed by this government, because up until this moment, we have yet to receive that promised ferry. What is even more damning, my brothers and sisters, than broken promises of this government is the fact that they continue to disregard the hardship of the Tobago people, my brothers and sisters. At times we go to Parliament to raise the issues for the people of Tobago, and they tell us the UNC is creating what? Fake news, my brothers and sisters. But brothers and sisters, the reality is that many businesses are closing down in Tobago because they cannot get supplies. Was said on January 18, one of the major bookstores, Mr. Nigel Khan, was in tears because he was forced to close his business in Tobago, my brothers and sisters. Over 34 small businesses as of today have closed their doors because they cannot get supplies. Hoteliers have reported that they have lost over $25 million since this ferry impasse. It is so bad, the owner of Ruvenel's Guest Hotel has said he has to let go over 18 employees because his hotel is at zero occupancy, my brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, was this what the people of Tobago voted for? Did they vote to lose their jobs? Did they vote to lose their businesses? The people of Tobago are now totally fed up of this neglect by the Keith Rowley administration. On March 6, the Inter-Island Truckers Association is called for a 2-day shutdown of businesses in Tobago, my brothers and sisters. This neglect and disrespect to the people of Tobago is a sign of a government that has no vision and no compassion for its citizens, my brothers and sisters. But friends, you know what is ironic? Despite these many calls for help and stories of distress, the government continues to say all is well in Tobago. Then on December 6, 2017, after the port failed for 6 times to secure a boat, the Prime Minister appointed a 4-man committee chaired by Imbert. You remember Imbert and the MV Sue? That was a vessel that Imbert, when he was Minister of Works, purchased for the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago that costed over $50 million, and not one day That ferry served the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We must never let them forget that. My brothers and sisters, what has this committee done, this Imbud-led committee? Where's the ferry? The people of Tobago are suffering, my brothers and sisters. You know, they say the vessel was cheap, but the Chinese have a saying. What they say? Good thing, no cheap. Cheap thing, no good, my brothers and sisters. My grandmother always taught me that. Carnival season came and went, and it was a fiasco in Tobago. Christmas came and went, it was a fiasco in Tobago of getting to and from Tobago, my brothers and sisters. Many broken promises by this government, my brothers and sisters. And I want to say, my brothers and sisters, as I end, brothers and sisters, it is clear that Trinidad and Tobago is in its worst possible state that it has ever been. As a nation, no citizen can identify one single thing after 30 months that this government has done to benefit us. As a nation, our country is crying out for an end to the Rowley-led administration. After 30 months, this government has failed in every single aspect. They have failed our children in the education sector. They have failed our economy. They have failed our national security. They have failed our healthcare system. They have failed every national institution in Trinidad and Tobago. This Keith Rowley-led PNM is carrying our nation down a path of no return, and they must be stopped now, my brothers and sisters. I want to let you know that United National Congress isn't the opposition. The UNC is your next government. We have a brilliant team of fresh ideas and experience. Brothers and sisters, as a party, you have had the best prime minister this nation has ever seen. A leader with experience in saving Trinidad and Tobago. A leader whose government brought down crime. A leader whose government restored the economy. A leader whose government protected your children's future. Kamla Persad-Bissessar has the experience. She has the vision. She has the courage. And most of all, she has the compassion for us, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, together with Kamla Persad-Bissessar, we will rebuild and take back our great country from this wicked PNM called Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
House announcement tonight. The UNC Women's Arm has a moringa table outside with pepper chutney, tea bags, capsules, and wine. So if you get some time, you can take a walk, purchase something, or even after the meeting. Now this next speaker, this senator gives the PNM-led administration a run for their money in Parliament. He also gives them a lot of tempo on the joint select committees. He's a stalwart of the United National Congress, and he's the best speaker we've ever had in the House of Senate. Let's give a warm UNC welcome to Senator Wade Mark.
Thank you very much, Sister Chairman, my colleagues at the head table, my parliamentary colleagues in the audience, councillors, members of the executive, my brothers and sisters all. This evening, I would like to share with you some thoughts on jobs and our economy. I want to remind you that under the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, we were able to create over 55,000 jobs. Never forget that. I also, brothers and sisters, want you to recognize that since the PNM came into office some 30 months ago, Over 30,000 workers have lost their jobs, and it is rising. Trinidad and Tobago is faced with its worst economic crisis, which is a creation of the PNM's incompetence and anti-people's political philosophy. Never forget that the choice of measures introduced by the PNM and unleashed on the PNM, and unleashed rather on the population already overburdened, has led to an explosion of fear, disappointment, and disenchantment across large segments of our nation and our people. Whether it is the working class, the middle class, or the ordinary people of our country, the impact of these measures have been swift and has been very severe. It has been manifested through rising unemployment and increasing levels of poverty and crime, growing income inequality and concentration of wealth, loss of business confidence and competitiveness, increasing political risk, industrial instability, and brothers and sisters, if this continues, we can face social unrest and civil strife in our country. One of the things you need to recognize that we have experienced over the last 30 months is an alarming decline in the labor force participation rate. My brothers and sisters, the number of persons in the labor force as a percentage of the working age population has been declining. The labor force participation rate has been declining over the past few years. It has worsened over the last 30 months. Could you imagine that we are now at a 59.8% labor force participation rate, the lowest since 1995. My brothers and sisters, there is a concept called the non-institutional population. Those are citizens between the ages of 15 and 65 who are able and willing and capable of working. They range between 15 years and 65 years. We are talking about 1,070,000 citizens in that category. The labor force today, as we speak, is only 640,000, giving us a participation rate of less than 60%. Could you imagine, brothers and sisters, that we have in our country today close to 330,000 citizens who cannot find jobs in our country because the labor force participation is low. It means to say that the government is not creating opportunities for the citizens to participate effectively. In a country called Iceland, there is a participation rate of over 87%. No, brothers and sisters, that one of the challenges that we face in Trinidad and Tobago today is that 1% of the labor force since 2006 has been murdered. Close to 605 workers, averaging 29 years, have been murdered in this country, and has impacted negatively on our labor force, participation rate, and involvement. My brothers and sisters, when you have a low level of labor force participation, what happens is that production falls, national output declines, and as a result, you have the country experiencing what we know as negative economic growth and social underdevelopment. My brothers and sisters, what is taking place in our country is that the PNM government over the last 30 months has wrecked this economy, and they have brutalized the working class of our nation. This government, brothers and sisters, has retrenched through incompetence. They have presided over the closure of ArcelorMittal of over 700 workers gone home. Constructidora, 800. Centrin, 300 workers. TDA, over 120 workers. OJT, over 111 workers, 111. Carney Green, over 77 workers. Trinity Exploration and Production, 48 workers. Government Human Resource, 25 workers. Perenco, over 25 workers. The media industry, including Newsday, The Guardian, and The Express, over 100 workers. Clico, over 100 workers. RBC, over 500 workers. The Caribbean Nitrogen Company is closed because right now there are negotiations with the government through the NGC for a new gas price contract. Over 400 workers are currently home at this time. Francis Fashion recently sent home over 25 workers. My brothers and sisters, you must understand that under the Severance and Retrenchment Benefits Act, employers are only allowed to report to the Minister of Labor 5 and more workers who have been retrenched. Any number under 5 is not reported. It means that hundreds, if not thousands of workers have been retrenched in this country. They have been laid off, they have been dislocated, and there has been no report to the Minister of Labor because the law does not permit it. So we have hundreds of workers who have been retrenched. You have thousands of workers whose contract have come to an end, and the PNM government has not renewed those contracts. So thousands of workers are on the breadline in the public service, in the private, in the public sector, state enterprise sector. They have been retrenched. Now, my brothers and sisters, these are very punitive measures that the government have invoked against the working people and the poor. The time has come for us to recognize that this government needs a fresh mandate. This government has failed. This government has not produced. This government has not delivered. This government is on a course of what I would like to describe as autocracy and authoritarianism. This is what can be described as a kleptocratic government. They are a bunch of thieves, brothers and sisters. This government is a bunch of thieves. I want to tell you this evening that there is no hope under the PNM. There is no hope under this Bajon Prime Minister called Keith Rowley. The PNM has failed the people. They have been a colossal failure. My brothers and sisters, the only hope, the only future, the only alternative is the Kamla Prasad UNC. We are the only alternative to the chaos, the anarchy, and the perpetual instability that we are witnessing. The United National Congress is ready, is able to rescue our country from PNM Rowley tyranny. I want to tell you this evening that we have an exceptionally brilliant, tried, tested, and proven leader. She has the political vision. She has the plan to make our country great. She has the capacity to transform our country into a 21st century, knowledge-driven, computer-literate, socially empowered, prosperous, self-confident, first world nation. That is Sister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. We are absolutely clear that we have a plan, brothers and sisters, to provide jobs to our country and our youths in particular who are under pressure. The United National Congress is planning through its work to revolutionize the agricultural sector. There is a lot of potential in the agricultural sector for development, for growth, for food security, for generating foreign exchange, for conserving foreign exchange, for linking agriculture to tourism in our country. Tourism is another aspect to revolutionize and to transform our economy, to generate jobs for our young people in Trinidad and Tobago, brothers and sisters. We also have, brothers and sisters, the manufacturing sector that can increase the number of jobs from 50,000 to 100,000. And the United National Congress is working and planning to deal with that particular transformation. So, brothers and sisters, I want you to know that in the United National Congress, there is hope, there is a future, there is an alternative. The time has come for our nation to rid itself of this cruel, wicked, evil PNM government, brothers and sisters. We have to begin. And I put out a challenge to the people of St. Joseph. Diyal Singh has been temporarily occupying and squatting here in St. Joseph. The time has come to send a message to Diyal Singh. And I want to tell you that St. Joseph must return to the fold of the United National Congress. Let us unite. Let us go forward. United we stand. Let us move forward towards a new dawn, a new day, a new morning under the distinguished leader of our party, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Long live the UNC, long live the people of TNT, long live St. Joseph, forward ever, backward never, forward ever, backward never, forward ever, backward never. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it again for Senator Wade Mack. Before I continue, I'd like to ask again the driver of HAD 2637, could you please go to the DJ table? You are needed. I have been told that at the fringes we are filled. I am told we are people all in the car park. So I can say, look at people! Yeah. St. Joseph, are we ready? Are we ready to take back the seat? Are we ready to tell Mr. Diyal Singh bye-bye? My brothers and sisters, let me just recognize some more MPs in our midst. We have MP Vidya Gayadin Gopi Singh, MP Dr. Rudal Munilal, we have MP Christine Nawalo, MP Fazal Karim. We are seeing the chairman of the Kuva Tabaki Talparo. I am seeing some long-standing activists. We are in this constituency. We are ready. We are here to take it back. My brothers and sisters, let me welcome to the podium a man I have the great honor of introducing, an attorney at law, a man who is in the Senate who has to teach the Attorney General about law. Let me welcome Senator, the Honorable Gerald Ramdeen.
Thank you very much, Brian. St. Joseph, are you ready to return St. Joseph to the fold of the United National Congress? Honorable political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, MPs and senators, I want to specially recognize in the audience tonight the MP for Kuva North, Ms. Ramona Ramdial, the MP for Karani Central, Dr. Bo Tiwari, the MP for Karani East, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, and the MP for Naparima. All right. Members of the audience, the people of St. Joseph, can we stand and welcome the political leader of the United National Congress, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad. Brothers and sisters of St. Joseph, let us give the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago a warm St. Joseph welcome. Brothers and sisters, there is a lot to talk about tonight, so let us get straight into the matter. In 2015, Keith Rowley told the people of Trinidad and Tobago, let's do it together. In 30 months, let me tell you what Keith Rowley has done together. There have been 1,200 murders in 30 months. That is 40 murders per month. We've lost 30,000 jobs in 30 months. That is 1,000 jobs per month. Under Keith Rowley, GATE and all the TechVoc programs have come to an end. Are you ready, St. Joseph, and Trinidad and Tobago to remove Keith Rowley and the People's National Movement. In 2010, between 2010 and 2015, the one thing that you could have been assured of is that you had a prime minister who cared for each and every citizen of this country. A prime minister who proved that she cared. And you must remember, the first act that Kamla Persad-Bissessar performed as prime minister by cabinet minute note number 1 of 2010 was to establish the Children's Life Fund to save the lives of the children of this country. And one of the last things that Kamla Persad-Bissessar did as prime minister was to commission the Children's Hospital to save the lives of the children of this country. So from beginning to end, you had a prime minister who placed the lives of the children of our country as her priority. Can you say that about the prime minister that you have today? That is why we must return Kamla Persad-Bissessar as prime minister so that our children and your children will have a future in Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, I want to touch on a very important topic with you and talk to you about this anti-gang legislation that was dealt with in Parliament on Friday. And I want to start by saying that Trinidad and Tobago will have anti-gang legislation because of the opposition led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar. In December of last year, the government said that the law enforcement, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Customs and Excise needed anti-gang legislation to fight the crime and the criminal element. They brought a bill to Parliament and they told us that they wanted 5 years. They wanted this legislation to last 5 years. And I want to explain something to you tonight. You know, our leader always tells us when this PNM speaks, you hear lie, that is lie. They told us they knew every gang. They knew every gang member. They know every crime that the gang is committing. And they still wanted 5 years. In July of 2016, you know what Faris Al-Rawi, the Attorney General, said to this country? In Parliament of all places, because Parliament is where they lie the most. In Parliament of all places, he said, today, Madam Speaker, we have a very different position. We have a government saying, give the time to do the consideration that is required. Let us put into a position to do the work that was not done by the last government. Let us produce statistics which will show whether kidnapping for ransom continues to work the way it did when SORT was around. Let us look at the efficiency of what the anti-gang law looks like and hear what he says. Let us complete the work and come back within a 2-year time frame. In 2016, the Attorney General was telling the Parliament they wanted 2 years for anti-gang. In 2017, when this anti-gang bill was debated, he told us in Parliament again, he said they wanted 2 years up to August 2018. 2 years. When that bill was not passed in Parliament in December of last year, the first thing that the Prime Minister did, you know what he did? The next day, he went out there and said, blame the UNC. Blood on the hands of the UNC. But did he do anything to cause that legislation to pass? Nothing. It was the leader of the opposition, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, that wrote to the Prime Minister. Wrote to the Prime Minister and told the Prime Minister, let us meet, let the government and the opposition meet. Let us find a bipartisan way to move this legislation forward and to pass it, if you are saying that law enforcement wanted it. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar that proposed to the government that let us use the standing orders to bring back the anti-gang bill to the parliament. While Rowley was complaining and doing nothing, the leader of the opposition was fighting to get the anti-gang legislation back into parliament. A better bill. We met, we took the advice of the leader of the opposition. Dr. Rudal Munilal led a team, and I want Dr. Rudal Munilal will confirm that when we went into that meeting, the government didn't make one suggestion to the opposition to improve the legislation. We had to do it. The opposition fought on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago so that today anti-gang legislation is here because of the leadership of Kamla Persad-Bissessar. While the leader of the opposition was working hard for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Rowley couldn't even answer a letter that was written to him. Stuart Young and Al Rawi. And you know, the anti-gang legislation and the experience that this country has seen in the last 2 months, it shows you who will really stand up for you and who will fight for you and who will defend your rights in and outside of the parliament of this country. Kamla Persad-Bissessar has a track record. She has demonstrated she will fight for the rights of the citizens of this country. And while the opposition is prepared to work, you were told last week by the deputy political leader, Ms. Jerlene John, you know what the government is prepared to do? While the opposition is working and preparing to go back into government, the Rowley-led administration, the Rowley government, they prepared to golf and gallivant and gallery. That is why this country is in the state that it finds itself in today. They have failed and they have collapsed. And yesterday, you heard that the chairman of the port resigned. Tonight, I want to remind you of something. I want to tell you the extent of the collapse of this PNM Rowley-led administration. Under this administration, you must remember, the chairman of Petrotrin, Andrew Jupiter, resigned. The president of Petrotrin, Yearwood, resigned. The chairman of TDC, Denise Deming, resigned. The chairman of EFCL, resigned. The chairman of the port resigned twice. The chairman of the sport company resigned. The chairman of CDA resigned. The chairman of the Economic Development Board resigned. The only thing we're waiting on now is for Rowley to resign. Brothers and sisters, I have walked this area in St. Joseph, and I want you all to remember, Terence Dial Singh this year will make 5 years. He's the MP for St. Joseph. And in 5 years of Terence Dial Singh, 5 years of Terence Dial Singh, you know what he's proven to the people of... He has failed, just like Rowley. But you know what he's proven to the people of St. Joseph? He will do nothing for you in opposition, and he will do even less for you when he's in government. That is Terence Dial Singh. Today, your MP in St. Joseph on the newspaper talking about organ transplant. I want to tell Terence Dial Singh tonight, St. Joseph also want a transplant, not an organ transplant. They want an MP transplant. That's what they want. The MP for St. Joseph, look at the behind where we sit here and have this meeting tonight. There is a school that has been abandoned by the PNM. And tonight, just like, I want you all to remember that when this government, the People's Partnership government led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar was in power, in 5 years, between 2010 and 2015, we delivered over 100 schools to the children of this country. When Kamla Persad-Bissessar left this country in the hands of Rowley, there were 70 schools. 70. The school that sits right behind here in Curepsec, 70 is one of 70 that we left. After 30 months, the Rowley government has not been able to deliver one school to the children of this country. Not one. Under Rowley, I want to tell you all this, we are in dangerous times. And if there is one reason that you should get rid of Rowley and the PNM, It is because that is the only way your children will have a future in this country. Can you imagine? The leader of the opposition always says the first duty of any government is to provide and to protect. Today, we have reached back to a stage where when your children leave home in the morning, you're not sure whether they will come back at night. There are parents, when their children leave school or work, you know what they do? They pick up the cell phone and talk to them until they reach home. That is where we have reached under Rowley. In between 2010 and 2015, under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we reduced crime to the lowest it was in 33 years. Today, there was a robbery in a lawyer's office opposite the headquarters of the commissioner of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, opposite Port of Spain headquarters last night. And can you imagine, we have reached back to the point where when someone breaks into your office and you call the police service, they're telling you in 2018, they have no vehicles. They're right next door and they're telling you they have no vehicles. That is what we've been reduced under Keith Rowley and Mervyn Dillon, Edmund Dillon, Faris Al-Rawi and Stuart Young. Do you all want to continue like that for another 2.5 years? Terence Dial Singh is the Minister of Health. When we ask him in Parliament, when you're going to open the Children's Hospital, you know what that man shamelessly stand up in Parliament and say? He said that's a vanity project. The PNM not on vanity projects. I want to tell you tonight, we must tell Terence Dial Singh and the PNM, Terence Dial Singh and PNM is a vanity project that we are going to get rid of. Can you imagine that in this constituency, after 5 years of Terence Dial Singh, that Farm Road has a mosquito and rat infection under the Minister of Health? Can you imagine that? Enough is enough. You're right. When we walk this area, I thought Terence Dial Singh wasn't the Minister of Health. Tonight, I thought he was the Minister of Rubbish. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you tonight that the United National Congress is planning and we are ready to take back our country under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. We are ready to take back our country and open the Children's Hospital for the children of our country. We are ready to take back our country under Kamla Prasad Bisesa and save the lives of your children by using the Children's Life Fund. We are ready to take back our country and protect and provide to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, whether you're in the east, the west, the north, and the south. We are ready to put back a Prime Minister who has a plan. We are ready to put back a Prime Minister who has a vision. We are ready to put back a Prime Minister who you can be assured will care for you and your children. We are ready to put back a Prime Minister that will ensure that your children have an education, that we will rebuild GATE and give to every child in this country a laptop. Last week, we asked the Minister of Education how many laptops has the PNM bought since September of 2015. You know what he said? 0. That is the way that the government of the day cares for the children of our country. Tonight, I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, the time has come for us to come together, for us to put Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her team, a team that will care for you, care for Trinidad and Tobago, and deliver on the promises and ensure that you and your children have a future in this country. St. Joseph and Trinidad and Tobago, the time is now. We must get together and remove this Rowley administration and put the United National Congress back into the corridors of power of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Yes, St. Joseph. Let's hear it for General Ramlin again. My friends, If you know how good you are singing, we are live on Radio Jagrati. We are live in stream on unctt.org. We are on Synergy TV. The nation is hearing us. The nation is hearing St. Joseph. The nation is hearing the UNC. Let me just say a special good night to my political leader. Political leader, good night. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring onto the stage now, to the podium, the Vice Chairman of the St. Joseph constituency, a councillor in the Tunapuna-Piako Regional Corporation. She is coming here to be a special introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me in welcoming Councillor Jalen Rupnarain.
My UNC brothers and sisters, are you UNC and proud? Let me hear you say it. I am UNC and proud. Special good evening to each and everyone. Tonight I have the honor and privilege of introducing a person who is very special to everyone in this hall. A very strong woman who by her accomplishment has paved the way for people like me to serve this country. She is the only leader we can ever have who had the young people of our nation as heart. The only leader who has always acted while thinking about the future of Trinidad and Tobago. Do you agree with me? Coming from the St. Joseph constituency executive, we have been neglected by the Keith Rowley administration. The villagers have been appealing for simple work to be done to develop this community. In my capacity as councillor for Kurapaje, I am seeing so much hardship and suffering by this government to you the people. I am seeing a government that is refusing to help you the people of the East-West corridor. They have broken every promise and they continue to make excuses. But my leader, I am about to introduce, does not make excuses. She gets the job done. Are you with me? She works hard to ensure that our future is secure. Let me hear a yes. She has set about making sure that the people of this country, especially the young people like myself, have hope for the future and opportunities to prosper. So I have the greatest honor to introduce to our political leader. Join me as you stand. Let us welcome our political leader of the United National Congress and my political leader and Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
Very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Members of the UNC family here in the constituency of St. Joseph and all those listening on the airwaves, I say good evening to all of you and thank you very much. Those of you sitting here, I am so happy to see so many of you here tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. I do believe that Team UNC is excited to be on the pavement in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I can feel your energy. I can sense that you are ready. I can sense that you are willing, that you are able to return good governance to Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight I want to ask you, are you ready? I want to ask you, are you yellow and ready? Are you ready to bring Team UNC back to the corridors of power? Thank you for that. You know, there are some outside, people have all kinds of views, and there are some out there who are talking about we need to unite the UNC. There are those who are looking for a place in the sun. And I want to say tonight that we welcome anyone who is willing to work for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the best interests of Trinidad and Tobago. And we must remember also that the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s were very different times from today in 2018 as we go forward in 19 and 20. Very different times. And therefore we need new faces, new voices, new strength. We need the young people of our party and of our country to come forward. We are not to go backwards. That's where the PNM is going. That's where the PNM has gone for the last 2.5 years, governing by looking in the rearview mirror. We must look backward, yes, to learn from our mistakes. But the only way that this country can go forward, the only way that our children can get full opportunities, the only way that there'll be prosperity for all is if we engage the young people. We must today build the leadership of tomorrow, and so I welcome all young people in Trinidad and Tobago to join hands with us. So let not your heart be troubled by the bleatings and the cryings of a few who thinks that they think that this party is not united. This party has never been more united than it is today. So don't get distracted. Don't get sidetracked. We have great people in this party, and my vision for our party, my aim, my goal for our party, which is shared by you in the party, is to marry the experience, those with solid experience, with those who have the new and the bright and the fresh ideas. So there is a space and a place for everyone, for every age and every gender, and for every creed and race. There's a place in our great party, the United National Congress. So as I put that behind us, rest your fears on that. I know that many of you are worried about our nation. Many of you are very worried about our nation and the direction in which we are going. And so I want to ask you, because I have made my choices in answering the following questions. Are you better off today than you were in 2015? Do you feel safer today? Do you have more job opportunities today? Do you have better health care today? And as we're in the constituency of the Minister of Health, tonight I call him out and I say, get out of the Ministry of Health, because everyone is suffering because of the bad and poor health care. I am told a baby died on Saturday in the San Fernando Hospital. I'm told in the very recent past, over 6 babies have died in that hospital because of some bacterial infection. In this day and age, nothing is said, nothing is written, except the parents and the mothers, the fathers who cry in pain for the loss of their children. Where is the Minister of Health? When the ceiling is falling down in the San Fernando Hospital, where is this MP, the Minister of Health? When it is that people cannot get CDAP drugs, they cannot get the medications. You go into a hospital, you cannot get basic medications. Healthcare has collapsed under this government and under this Minister of Health. And I'm sure he'll come to Parliament Friday with one long story. When you ask him a question, he could never answer the question, also with some story. This is a man who told you how much teeth he had in your mouth, by the way. Can you remember what he said? Stood in Parliament and said he has a person has a full mouth of teeth. And the number he gave us a totally wrong number. He doesn't even know how much teeth that you have in your mouth. This is the Minister of Health. So, what we have seen in the last 2.5 years as we're in midterm makes us fear for the future of our children, of our grandchildren, and of our nation. They have failed in every single field. They have failed with respect to every human endeavor. They have failed with respect to every sector of the society. They have failed with respect to every strata, every person, every place. in the last 2.5 years, they've demonstrated they are abject, total failures. I want you to look at the screen for a moment, because it's not just Kamala saying it or the UNC saying it. I want you to look at the screen. This is the front page of nothing other than the Sunday Guardian. Can you read it? Are you seeing it? Front page, poor marks for the PNM. Poor marks for the PNM. And if you just allow me to get my copy, it's difficult to see it from here. I will get mine. So here we are. Poor marks. Poor marks when it comes to the economy. Failed. Crime, failed. Health, failed. Tourism, failed. Foreign affairs, failed. Energy, failed. Government's performance, failed. Prime Minister's performance, failed. This is the Sunday Guardian, which is the Sunday Guardian. That's as much as I will say. This is from them. And then, inside of the paper, that same Sunday Guardian, you have here midterm performance, citizens speak out. Let me share what people are saying, not Kamala, not UNC here, but people speaking out. And so we have Crystal Simon. Can you see it there on your screen? This is what she has to say. 35 of point 14, housewife. This is a position that Raleigh was not ready for. He is not doing a good job at all. This government can do a lot better. Crystal Simon of point 14. Savita Maraj of San Fernando, businesswoman. This is not a good performance at all. It is really hard for people now. It is hard for businesses to survive. And people cannot afford to pay for food because prices are high. Do you agree with her? Then we have Colleen Thomas of Well Road, Superior, unemployed. This government is not doing a good job. There is no work for youths and prices are high. Do you agree? Then we have Ramsey Kangu of Claxton Bay, a bus driver. This government's performance is very bad. Everything they're doing is wrong. They have no ideas. The business community is suffering and citizens are suffering. These are people of Trinidad and Tobago speaking in terms of the performance of the Rowley government. So you feel it, we feel it, everyone is feeling it. Even their own supporters are complaining about the lack of performance on the part of this government. So where have they brought us after 2.5 years in their midterm? We are now, under 2.5 years of the Rowley government, a nation in crisis. Crime is out of control. This is a reality. People are living in fear. And so today, the murder number is 110 murders, and not even 3 months have passed in the year 2018. Over 1,200 people have been murdered since they came into office. In this year, in 2017, 52 women killed. 52 women killed. The statistics tell us that our country loses 2.2% and 3.5% of GDP to crime every year because of crime. And so what have they done? What do they have to show in terms of planning and in terms of achievements in the fight against crime? Gerald spoke to you earlier about the anti-gang bill. I will not say more about that. We worked to make it a better bill. We held out our support. They blamed us. They said the blood was on our hands, but the only blood that is on anyone's hands is on the Keith Rowley government and his people, his ministers. Blamed us. Faris Alwari out there every Monday morning, but they never tried to find a solution. Gerald again shared that with you, so I will not spend much more time, except to say I will tell you this. I found a way when they were telling the country that they could not bring back this bill until September. I said, but you all don't read your standing orders. Read it. If we agree and you agree, we can waive the standing order. So said, so done. And we brought it back just a week or two ago. Then they brought it back. They said this was their cure. They brought it back. But you know what? Many of the amendments that we suggested through our team, Munilal, Ramdeen, Rodney Charles and Anita Haynes, Senator. Our team met with the government team of Faris, Stuart Young, and Minister Hines. And as Gerald told you, not one suggestion, but they accepted our suggestions to make the law a better law. We said from day one, we do not expect this to cure the crime problem. You have a lot more to do. But they have been holding us out and saying you didn't support it. And every day, this one died, this one murdered, blame Kamala, blame the UNC. Blame Kamala. So I want to see who you're going to blame now. Because you got the anti-gang bill, and we are going to hold you to it to make sure that you perform and implement it. And the whole issue about the sunset clause, Gerald just read for you where Faris himself was saying 2 years. Sunset clause for 2 years, but no. I know what? In the parliament, the first time when we did not support, is the Prime Minister himself said, no, we're not doing that. When we said, let's have a sunset clause, 2 years, then we could come back parliament, review this law. We're not doing that. You see, bad mind is a very bad thing. You have to come back and cave in. You have to come back and give in. And so that's where we are today with that. And you will say we are talking about the crime and how bad it is. So what do we have to offer? What did we offer and what do we have to offer? I tell you, we have a plan. We had a plan and we implemented that plan. And I will share just some of it with you. Because many times people tell me, they meet us and they tell our members, well, you are complaining every day. What would you do? Well, let me tell you what we did to bring serious crime down to the lowest in 33 years. So we have a track record in fighting crime. We have a track record. And some of the things that we did, we use not just parliamentary legislation, we use non-legislative measures because the law alone will not solve crime, will not fight crime. And this government has a total upside-down, cookie-eyed view about what will work and will not work. So they feel you bring this anti-gang bill and you bring a few other bills and the agent is usual, loquacious self will talk, and his song's really good, by the way. That guy, that AG, when he talks in Parliament, he is very loquacious and he really sounds good. But when you examine what he says, you have no privacy rights, then he is totally wrong in the statements that he makes. He's totally wrong. So hear us. We set up the community comfort patrols. Anybody remembers that? You know what they did with it? They shut it down. I want to give you the assurance that was part of our crime fighting plan, and we will bring that back when you give us the mandate to go back in office. We set up a national operations center, which was to be like the brain, the central power, so that we can oversee the entire country as to what was happening and be able, from that focal point, that central point, and all developed countries have one of these, that we could see and hear and immediately respond. What did they do with it? They have taken it and made it into a mess by putting SSA inside of it, by putting other arms so nobody knows what's happening. Instead of being the central brain for coordinating operations in the country, they have totally wiped out the core functions of the National Operations Center. I tell you today, it helped us when we were in government. We will go back to make sure that that National Operations Center functions as it should. You know, we established a National Security Specialized Operations Group. This comprised members of all the law enforcement agencies, so they could respond to events and required a higher level of response. We established something called the Energy Sector Security Initiative. Do you know how vulnerable? First of all, we are dependent on our energy assets. Yes? The oil and the gas. Do you know how vulnerable those assets are if they are out there to groups bent and criminals bent on damaging our country? We set up this energy sector security initiative. It looked to protect our critical energy infrastructure. I am told this has also been scrapped. I tell you today, we will re-establish and operationalize this energy sector security initiative as a government. We had the relaunch of the E99. We had a very powerful tool when reporting and responding to crimes. I don't know what has happened to it, but I give you the assurance it was first started under the Pandey government, but we relaunched it in a modernized way. And so that too is another powerful tool in the fight against crime. We brought the soldier bill. Well, they lambasted us from pillar to post on that soldier bill. But you know what? Today they are doing the same thing with the joint patrols, interagency task force, police and soldiers, but they're just doing it without the law. Without the law. Again, the hypocrisy of this Rowley government must be condemned at every point. We established a rapid response unit. We established a counter-human trafficking unit. We took the savings from the unlawful SAUTT sort, and we gave each law officer, guess what, you remember? $1,000 special allowance every month. They put their lives at stake and on the line. We also agreed to pay $1 million to the family of officers killed in the line of duty. They have never put into law, in spite, first they came, they're not doing it because there's no law. Lie? You hear lie. And up to today, 2.5 years later, they have not put the law in place. But yet you expect prison officer, fire officer, police officer, and so on, to be out there facing the criminal elements, and their families would be left without a black cent, as you say, a red cent, because of the heartlessness of this PNM government. And I want to tell you some of these measures. The former Minister of National Security, when we left office, he didn't take the package and the things we had done and threw it away. He gave it to the incoming Minister of National Security. But they did nothing with it, and they continue to scrap the things, to dismantle the things that would help in the fight against crime. Can you imagine today in this country, you have not one Minister of National Security. You don't have two. You have, that's right, 3 Ministers of National Security. And I must commend young MP Ramona Ramdial. In Parliament on Friday, she asked the question, what do you predict to be the crime rate? Or was it crime or murder rate as we go forward? And the minister got up and said, you think I'm a seer man? You think I have a crystal ball? And then she got up and said, well, are you saying you have no confidence in your strategies and your plans? You have no confidence that you can bring down the crime? Well, who tell Ramona to say that? The minister got up and he said, well, I predict, whatever else he predicted, I predict this was a man who just say he had no seer man, no crystal ball. When Ramona jammed him and put him on the spot, he was started to predict. That is the caliber of people that we have dealing with the high scourge, high level of crime, burying their hands in the sand. Prime Minister, head of National Security Council, when Murilal asked him a question about some meeting the National Security Council had, answered by his sidekick, the young minister, Stuart. What did he tell you, Murilal? He told you? He cannot give that information. When was the meeting? Where was the meeting? Who held the meeting? You know what? I believe there was no meeting at all. That is what I believe. There was no meeting. But they told the country they had a meeting. When you want to find out where was the meeting, you mean that's such a high-risk thing? You can't say where you had a National Security Council meeting. We all know we used to have those over 5 years. 99% National Security Council meetings were held. Office of the Prime Minister. But maybe if they told us that, we would have checked and realized, but wait now, on that day, the chairman of the National Security was in Tobago playing golf. So he could not have been at the meeting where he said he was. So they don't want to tell us. But you can run, but you cannot hide. You cannot hide. The truth will always float up. You will always find it out. So Rudy asked again, so how many people who came, who attended? Again, Stuart Young can't answer that. Okay? And that is the kind of responses David Lee spoke to you about, the kind of behavior in that parliament. And that is when we ask questions on your behalf. They will answer in a confuddled way or refuse to answer. And you see what has happened now. They've stopped the post-cabinet meetings, so they do not have to talk and respond to questions from the media. So there's no accountability, no transparency. As Wayne Marker said, they're tyrants and they're dictators who want to run this show as their own show. But the time has come. The time has come and is long overdue when we must call them out, we must expose them, because they have failed in every single regard in delivery to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So I've spoken to you about crime. I want to speak to you about another very important issue, which was touched on by David Lee, about the behavior of this government, the members of this government in the parliament. I want you to look at your screen, look at this clip that we have.
Could the Prime Minister indicate whether it is the intention of the party he leads to help Minister Coffey rather than the taxpayers?
Prime Minister. Prime Minister.
Speaker, if my colleague from Orapuch East want to talk about party elites, and meet him outside on the pavement. And meet him outside on the pavement. And meet him outside on the pavement. If my colleague from Orapuch East want to talk about party elites, and meet him outside on the pavement. And meet him outside on the pavement.
Tell them wicked people, fire go Monday, fire go Monday. Oh Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go Monday, fire go Monday. Oh, say little boy, you ain't bad at all.
Your own words will expose you. Is this the Prime Minister then? Is this what he's talking about? Is this what he seems to be encouraging? And then as MP Lee told you about the incident with MP Indarsing in the parliament. I remember this was the same person, you know, Dr. Rowley, years ago, pelt a teacup at a member of parliament. Remember that? You know, sometimes when we see this kind of behavior, we really have to believe former Prime Minister, the late Patrick Manning. When you provoke him, he becomes a what? Okay, that's the man. Dr. Lee has spoken, MP Lee has spoken about those incidents in the parliament. To move on to a matter touching and concerning the life or lives of every person, each person in our country. And that is the economy. There is no question that the economy is in crisis in Trinidad and Tobago. Our economy is in crisis because, as we told you, Rodney told us before elections, continues every month to tell us, they have no plan. Rowley has no plan. Rowley has no clue how to fix the mess he created. All he can do is what? Blame Kamla, blame the UNC, blame anyone else who speaks out against him. They know they have nothing to show for the 30 months in office. But do you know what? They have spent more than $112 billion. Did you know that? The central bank report, which came out in March, just a few days ago, this year, that central bank report says they have spent in their 30 months, not in 30 months, in 2 years, about $112 billion. I don't think you could ever imagine how much money that is. 112 is about 9 zeros you have to add after that. 112, 000, 000, 000. You wouldn't have paper to print the amount of zeros. $112 billion. And what do they have to show for it? Nothing. They have nothing to show for it. So, our debt level is increasing. foreign exchange declining, revenue declining, as Wade told you, over 25,000 jobs lost, and not one measure, not one policy, not one idea how to fix the economy. You may tell me, yes, they have an idea, but that is not fixing the economy. That is brutalizing the citizens, and that is tax upon tax upon tax. They believe they can get more revenue to use to build the economy by what? Tax upon tax upon tax. And that is their mistake and will forever be their mistake. They are doomed. When you see a brilliant man like Terence Farrell, as Gerald just said, resigned from the Economic Development Board, well, you know it's water more than flour. Something had to go really wrong because he is a great economist. And clearly the government was not following the suggestions coming from that board. And so they do not want their own advice from their own advisors, and the economy continues to tumble. So record job losses, economy in recession, and continuing to tumble with each day. I want to share with you again from the latest central bank bulletin. And I do this, as I say, because you may not get a chance to read it. I have a copy of it here. Let me get it first. This is it. Central Bank Economic Bulletin, March 2018, Volume 20, Number 1. March 2018, just a few days ago. What this does is to give us the stats, the numbers, the figures. And what it does, it confirms everything we have been saying when it comes to the statistics presented in it. Again, this is not Kamla speaking. This is not UNC speaking. This is the central bank. And the governor of the central bank was appointed by whom? The Rowley government. They fired the good one, the last one. This is their central bank governor. These are their numbers. And when we look at the data contained in this, we see, first of all, that new natural gas production in September 17 helped to reverse 7 consecutive quarterly declines in GDP. You know why? Because something called the juniper field. And these people are so bold-faced. As somebody said, teeth in. They huff the idea, they huff the juniper field. That happened under the People's Partnership, under my watch, which today is accounting for more output in natural gas. Let's look at their unemployment numbers. Wade has shared some with you. In 2017, at the end of 2017, we are now starting 18, unemployment rate was 4.5%. When we were in office and left office in our time, it was 3.1%. So unemployment, Wade gave you some raw data. These are actually from the central bank data. The number of persons with jobs fell by 6.7 thousand, what they call year on year, from last 17 to January here in 2018. And the number of persons without jobs increased by 5,000. Again, there is no firm economic recovery as yet on the horizon. And then we have public finance data, very important. Total revenue, they have received in revenue for 2017, just completed the fiscal year, $9 billion. In our last year in office, we got in revenue $44.9 billion. Now they will tell you oil and gas fell, they tell you we thief out the treasury and what we didn't do. All right, so you know your revenue is falling. What did you do? What plan did you put in place to get revenue from other sources other than the oil and gas? They did nothing except tax and tax and tax. Not one plan, not one project to diversify the economy. And I'll tell you tonight some of the plans that we have. Total expenditure. They have spent from September 2015, as I told you, to December 2017, $112 billion. I just shared that with you, the expenditure. In 2015, 14, 15, or last year, we spent $59.9 billion. They borrowed a total of $22.9 billion. $22.9 billion. They have done that in 27 months. That is at the rate of $851 million a month they've been borrowing. And anytime you're borrowing more than you're earning, than your revenue, you know what you are? You are bankrupt. They are taking this country into bankruptcy. And when they're taking the country into bankruptcy, they are bankrupting you, your children, and your grandchildren. It is not them, it is you. Every one of you, every citizen, together with your children and your grandchildren. And when they borrowed this $22.9 billion over the last 27 months, end of last year, that does not include 2 drawdowns from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, another $4.2 billion. So it's 22.9 plus 4, 26, almost $27 billion they borrowed in the last 27 months. What do they have to show for it? What do they have to show for it? A declining economy, recession, crime at the highest, healthcare at the worst, jobs being lost every day, nothing but negatives to show from all this money. And we continue. The external debt to GDP, the external debt doubled from since we were in office to now. External debt now, remember, is not TT dollars. No. External debt is in what? US dollars. They have doubled the external debt of this country, of you and me, and every one of us in this country. When we left, it was 8.6%. They have doubled it to 15.3%. Central bank data, not mine. The total net public debt to GDP. All right, in case you didn't know what is GDP, GDP is a gross domestic product, the production of our nation, of our country. The debt, the public debt that the government is owing, meaning you owing them, by the way. Never think it's them, it's also you. The debt to GDP, September 2015, when we left office, was 48.2%. You know how much it is now? 61.6%. Debt to GDP. Net debt to GDP. You know what is even worse? When we left office in 2015, the deficit, that means the shortage of your revenue to expenditure, was, guess what? $2.7 billion. Do you know what it is today? At the end of last year, $12.6 billion, a 500% increase. And they want to tell us about maxing out, what is to say it in Bulletin Parliament, max out the overdraft and spend every cent. Listen, your deficit increased by 500%, man, in 27 months. And you want to tell me you know how to manage this economy? You want to tell me that you could take care of the children of this country, of the elderly and the poor, of the middle class or any class? They can take care of no one. And again, what have they done with this money? What have they done with it? Our official foreign reserves, you hear them weeping, wailing, gnashing teeth. Official foreign reserves. Can't get Forex. You know what they've done with our official foreign reserves? When we left office in September 2015, well, first of all, in December 2014, our official foreign reserves was 11,497 million US dollars. Okay? That's 11.5 billion US. By 7/11/88, about 89 billion TT dollars. You know where they've brought us down to now? They brought us down to $8.2 billion. And you know what they've also done? When we left, import cover was almost 12 months, 11.9 months, meaning we had enough foreign reserves to pay for the imports from outside of the country for 11.9 months. They have lost US $8.2 billion in foreign reserves, used up $8.2 billion US dollars in the last 27 months, bringing us down to January 2018 to 8.2 billion, foreign reserves, to 9 months import cover. And by the time they finish fiscal 2018, which is this year, we're going to be much less than that, because they know how to grab money and huff money, but they don't know how to make money. They do not know how to put programs in place to generate revenue, to generate jobs. And so our net reserves also falls. Now they call these like the main economic indicators when you want to judge how an economy is going. That's all very good. These are all numbers. But you don't eat numbers, huh? You can't eat them. You can't eat the stats. You cannot also get good health care or good education with the statistics. This government, as I said, has lost 14.7 billion TT dollars in our official reserves so far. Now I must point out, during our time, the highest level of official reserves that I did before was 79 billion. Again, we cannot eat or drink this. We cannot take our child when ill to go and pay the doctor or to buy medicine or to have surgery, to have life-saving surgery. No, no, no. So we look at the raw numbers and we've seen how they are destroying our economy. But we feel it in our homes, in our hearts. When a father has to come home every evening and say, Gil tells his wife, you know, I didn't get a job, you know. He's lost his job. He has to come home and watch his wife and his children. And what are they going to eat? What is he going to give them to eat? Because tomorrow he has no job. He doesn't know where he's going to work. Where will he get the books for his child? Where will he get the school uniform? Above all, where will he get the money to pay for the sick child? And when he takes that child to the hospital, there is no care. This is a heartless government that takes no need of those who are most vulnerable, our children and our elderly. You destroy the economy, yes, and we reel off the numbers, and you say Kamla and the UNC and the partnership, blah, 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 blah. Well, tell me, you have earned in revenue for the last fiscal year more money than the year before. What did you do with it? Why are you lying to the country? Why do you continue to lie? I tell you, you could run and you could lie, but you cannot be hide. You will be exposed. You will be exposed. So under this government, this Rowley government, we have experienced the sharpest decline in 3 decades. In 30 years, we have had the sharpest decline. And in the economy, food prices rising, cost of living going up. You cannot get basic health care and medication. Instead, what are they doing? Vanity projects. Others spoke about it tonight, the vanity projects that they concentrate on. So you talk about paintings and soak on the seas and romping and roaming and fake oil and all these other things. By the way, on that fake oil issue, I got somebody dropped something in my mailbox today. There was an article in the newspapers recently where they said there was an oil spill down in the Barkpo area on the Catskill field. I remember the fake oil issue was with respect to that field. And you will remember, well, the oil spill came up and they wrote about it in the newspaper. And you'll remember that recently, after the Privy Council judgment on that matter of fake oil, Petrotrin took back the Catskill field. They took it back. You know, when they went in there, I am told, and I'm asking tonight, I have court closed, but I'm willing to ask. I'm a very humble person when I need to be. I'm asking tonight whether they found a device from a Petrotrin tank down in the same area connected to the Catskill tank. And that device was for pulling or pumping the oil from the petroleum tank into, guess what? The Catskill tank. And Lord knows how long, if that was happening, that was happening. Tonight I call on the petroleum board if there's any left, because people firing and hiring like flies. They're dropping like flies. It's like rats jumping off a ship, you know. Gerald read out all these people, and there are many more. He just read some. People just resigning, and if they don't resign, what? They're firing, they just jumping off the ship. So I'm calling on whoever is left at Petrotrin, in the management and so on, to tell us whether it is true. And I call upon the Minister of Energy to tell us whether this device was found. And you know the sad thing, you will not know for how long that was going on. So whilst the audit has confirmed second contract where you've been found guilty of unlawful wrongdoings. Why are you holding on that contract? Prime Minister, I hope it is not because he's your bestie. I hope that's not why he's still holding, because I have read a copy of the contract someone sent to me, and it is clear that where you've been, look, you do it once, you will do it twice. So let's look into that. And I again repeat what our MPs have been raising in the Parliament. Why is this matter not sent to the police? Why don't you send all these files, all the foreign investigations and so on, to the police? Why? Why don't you want to send it? Are you waiting till you get your own hand-picked people in the police service before you send it? They sent it to the DPP. Why not to the police? It is clear that something awful and wrong has happened. Your money, almost $100 million, and will not go to the police. You remember when they accused me and other ministers in the Parliament, Rowley, with his fake emails? Instantly, I remember Monilal was the leader of government business in the House. He said, Prime Minister, we have to do something about this. I said, certainly, because we knew they were total fake things, they were lies, there was nothing to be afraid of. And that same day, from the time he bust his fake thing in the Parliament, the same day I wrote to the Commissioner of Police for an investigation. I see the police are now saying there was nothing of substance in those lying allegations. But no, they wouldn't send it to the police. And we always have to question what is happening. So those are the two new issues on the fake oil. I'll keep you updated. And I know David Lee, MP, spoke about the ferry issue. I will not go into details further on that tonight. I call for a criminal investigation. A criminal investigation into the crooked ferry deal. Prime Minister himself has said it was crooked. Well, let's go find the crooks. Follow the money, according to AG. Follow the money, let's find the crooks in that crooked deal. And that saga, the fairy tales of the ferry, continue day by day, and more will come. So I spoke to you about the collapse of the economy and the recession and so on. And the basic bottom line of all of that is life is harder for everyone. Prices out there, jobs, in every way, you have a harder life. So you will ask me, well, what will I do? I will say some of what we already did, but much, much more, because we have been working on a plan, of course, to have us ready when we get back into government. And so we have a plan to diversify our economy so we will not feel the output shocks and the external shocks with respect to oil and gas. So that if we produce less oil and gas, output shocks, or externally prices go down, the impact will not be so great on you and all of us here. So what are some of the things that we shared? And we have a big fat book Dr. Tiwari has been working on in terms of the plan together with others. I'll just hold it up so you'll be sure we do have a plan that we're working, and I can share some of those issues with you. We shared some already when we were campaigning in 2015, but then like stick break in some people's ears. So they didn't listen. They didn't listen. I hope that you will listen now. I hope you will listen now. And so let me just get this volume for you. Okay, so here we are. This is one of the volumes that we have where we've been working out our plan for the economy with great help from Dr. Bari and his team and other MPs, and we'll continue to delve in it. So when we tell you we have a plan, I cannot stand up tonight. I'll keep you here till maybe a week. But each night we'll share some of it with you. So we do not just complain and condemn, we are working on a plan to modernize Trinidad and Tobago, to diversify the economy. They want me to show you the first page. And strangely enough, this was a document that Dr. Tiwari started working on since he was Minister of Planning. So some of these ideas, he left it for that lady, the new Minister of Planning. But they don't care. As I said, they take no advice and they follow nothing through. I will not be so unkind, Karen. I will not be so unkind. So some of the things we had talked about then and we are developing further is with respect to the blue economy, the green economy, the silver economy. Listen, blue economy is very simple. Just think of water. Not blue waters, water. We are surrounded by the warm waters of the Caribbean Sea on one side and on the other by the Atlantic Ocean. We are totally sea-locked. You know, some countries complain they are landlocked. Well, we are blessed to be sea-locked, locked in by the sea. And there is so much we can do with our water resources. I know some of you travel abroad, a simple place not too far away, like when you go to Florida. You see what they've done with their water, man? And they did that with swamp, you know. They took swamps, the whole of Miami, and so swampland, drained, developed, but all around is water and all the things that you can do on that water. So with the blue economy, some of the things that we can look at for diversifying our economy include, but not limited to, shipping and port facilities, fisheries, tourism. That's a lot of people go up to Miami and go on the waters, ship cruises and so on. I think some lucky people here go up to Miami on these ship cruises. Aquaculture, energy, biotechnology, submarine mining. These are some of the things we can do with the water that we have been so blessed with. And then the green economy as well. Green economy, this all has to do, nowadays climate change and environment are very important things, so it's tied in, but also help us with respect to industries that are so, a green economy results in improved well-being, the concept in the climate change arena, and developing further, we will bring the point, the center of development and so on. These are some areas in the green economy. Silver economy, listen, I am proud I'm UNC. I'm also proud I'm not so young, UNC. And so the silver economy has to do with the elderly and the aging population that we have. And industries and activities built around the elderly to cater for them and for them to help build the economy. Another day I'll give you a few more details on those, but we had spent some time. You can go online and look at our 2015 manifesto to get more on the blue economy, green economy, and silver economy. But that's not all. We live in an age of high-tech. Total high-tech. We live in an age of artificial intelligence. I have talked to you over and over again about the fourth industrial revolution. Yes? Trinidad and Tobago is being left behind whilst others are forging ahead. I see Mr. Phillips is here, son of my dear sister, Dr. Daphne Phillips. He's an IT person. He will understand what I'm saying. We cannot go forward. We cannot diversify this economy without going headlong into IT. And that is why when we were there, we were given free laptops so we could train our little young little ones coming up. Laptops for children. These people are so backward. They take away the laptops. And even when we were doing it then, you remember they come in Parliament and make every story they could against giving the laptops. We were preparing our children for the digital age, because if we don't do that, we will become left behind. We become poorer and poorer and poorer. That is the way to go. Artificial intelligence. Somebody told me that they pushing these suitcases. I went to do something abroad. Have all this suitcase and whatever. Anybody travel know you have a suitcase. You know, they tell me the suitcases now is just follow you around. You don't have to push it and you don't have to pull it. You just have a little remote in your hand. You press it. And this thing, imagine, this suitcase is following you around. They will tell you about the vacuum cleaner. It's doing the vacuuming all on its own. But even more important than those, and you realize those kinds of jobs now. So where you had the janitor helping you to clean, Mr. Vacuum Cleaner, artificial intelligence, that fella don't have a job again, you know. Where the porter in the airport to push your bag and pull your bag, job gone, you know. So if you do not prepare for that, I'm putting it in very simple language, it is far more complex, far more detailed, but those are the jobs that will be lost to information technology. And if we do not prepare you all, you can't function in that age. Your children cannot function. And so these are some of the things with the artificial intelligence. And now you have these things, you know, I'm reading, you can go up on a computer now. And I think there's one company, I was supposed to bring that article, recently a company in Port of Spain is actually doing it. And they said the thing that they sell the most is toppings to put on wedding cakes. So they make a thing like of the bride and the bridegroom, a little, what do you call it? It's not a baby doll, what do you call it? A figurine, thank you so much. A figurine of the bride and the bridegroom in their nice clothes and so on. And they will print that, you know. You know what they're doing? They're printing it. You think you had to go by a manufacturer make the mold and cast and what? Printing that, they say that's the highest seller. So now you can do things online again, IT, through the digital revolution, you can do these things. You can stay home and they send you everything. You don't have to go to make a mold and, you know, cast it and let it dry and blah, blah, blah. They actually send you this thing, and these printers now spraying the type of metal or what plastic to make it. Can you believe that? Look at where this world has reached. I always give you my story about Dick Tracy and the watch. And you watch people have an Apple, is it Apple? A watch that matching their iPhone and just talking to this thing. So that was way up. But now you're actually reaching from the computer, you can actually sit down and make something. So we have to prepare our young ones and not so young ones to get those jobs in that kind of environment, in that kind of industrial revolution. We are nowhere near to doing that. Of course, when we were there, we were preparing, and we will do this in greater depth. We were preparing for tourism. Now, everyone talks about tourism and think it has to do with sun, sea, and sand. You know how many countries in the world have sun, sea, and sand? You know how many countries in the world, beautiful sun, sea, and sand, but they don't have crime? So they're not coming to Trinidad for sun, sea, and sand. They will go somewhere else. So don't just have the closed mind that tourism is just to come and go on the beach and lie down. Sun, sea, and sand in the tropics. Yeah, that is very nice. But we were planning and we put in infrastructure for, guess what? Medical tourism. that Couva Children's Hospital, the teaching hospital in San Fernando that we built. That is what that was for. And whilst we were preparing it for medical tourism, meaning people from the region, the other islands, would come to us. Right now, some go in Venezuela and Colombia and the US. They will come here because it's closer. They could come here. That was the plan when we did those things. Thanks to a little lady sitting there. Her name is Jillian John in the Udicott. Yeah, you could take that one. Yes, and Munilal in that ministry with respect to... and my very dear friend, Dr. Fuad Khan, who is the Minister of Health. Those are the areas. So, medical tourism. So when they come here, what are they doing? Are they spending Trinidad and Tobago dollars? They will spend foreign or exchange foreign dollars for TT. So you get money. When they come, you're making more money, what they call revenue. And you're making that revenue in Forex, the most needed Forex. That's what we need to do. We need to develop, diversify where we can earn foreign exchange. This government doesn't have a clue. So talking about tourism again, medical tourism, those two, and we were building the Point Fortin Hospital. We were building the one up in Arima, if you all remember. Well, I'm very sorry, Terence Dialsing, I beg you to tell us what is the state and status of all these. And I warn you, you know, Terence, I'm in your constituency tonight. And I'm warning you, if you fail to open that children's hospital, all manner of woes will descend upon you. All manner of woes will descend upon you. You cannot suffer the children of our country any longer. You don't have a plan, you don't have a clue. We have a plan, we have a clue. We built that hospital, and I promise you we will make sure that that hospital is open for our children and for the medical tourism it will provide. Tourism again. We put in the infrastructure for sports tourism. You all think sports is just to go and kick football and take cricket, but there is sports tourism. We built the aquatic center. We built the velodrome. We built the tennis center again, thanks to Jill and John in the Udicott. Those projects were done. Those projects we pushed. Monilal, we pushed, and a boy named, a man, fella, they say a lot of bad things about him, but we have to give Anil his jacket, Anil Roberts. He was the driver behind those projects. He was the driver behind those projects for sports tourism. So all these modern, that velodrome I'm told is one of the best in the region. But is anything happening there? Again, that would have brought revenue. Yes? Brought revenue and jobs. I mentioned the hospital, the medical tourism. That Couva Hospital, children, was supposed to provide 2,000 jobs. All people now without jobs. Doctors, 200 doctors, don't have a job. And Mr. Dial Singh saying they don't have doctors to staff the hospital. We opened the El Dorado Nursing Academy to train medical personnel to staff that hospital for young people to get jobs. None of that is happening when today youth unemployment is the highest in terms of age grouping in this country. That same Central Bank report, the youths from 18 to 29 have the highest level of unemployment. But this government, no care, no share. So sports tourism, medical tourism, educational tourism are ways in which we could and we will diversify the economy to create jobs, to sustain our development, and of course, to bring revenue into our country. Time will not permit more, and another day I will share with you my thoughts on agriculture. Agriculture is a totally untapped resource. I see former minister here, Devan Maharaj, former minister of food production. I tell Devan he's like a FBI by himself because every day he's exposing more wrongdoing on the part of the PNM. But there is work there. Food production. We have the best cocoa in the world. Highest quality cocoa in the world. They will take 2 drops of our Trinitario cocoa to put it in other people's cocoa and make it more valuable. All right, you all thinking about something else. I am not going down that road. Trinitario cocoa I'm speaking of, highest premium grade cocoa. And so they import us at the highest prices. That's somewhere to go. That's something where we could earn, guess what? Foreign exchange and create jobs. There's another area I'll talk to you about another day that is very simple. It's the pineapple industry. We have one of our councillors who's a pineapple farmer, somewhere about Brian Mohan. And when Brian explains how he's doing this, do you know the demand for pineapple in the world is so high that every pineapple you grow, you could export, get foreign exchange, you're creating jobs while you're planting. Another one is the tilapia industry. I'll tell you something. We have a little pond down on our land down where we live, right? We put a few tilapia. Man, within I don't know what space of time, if you're watching that pond, it's tilapia upon tilapia upon tilapia. It just multiplies. Again, providing food. Yes? I think, Devon, you might have given me a few of those tilapia. And the thing just multiplies. If you go down there, they get so nice now when you go and you throw some piece of bread and you just let them float it up, the whole place red with the red tilapia in it. Tilapia industry, again, in the agriculture. So many others, these are some of the areas. Let me close finally at this late hour. I didn't realize it was so late, but I have to do this. Because the property tax is something that is going to affect everyone, directly or indirectly. So, first of all, we have the flip-flopping of the Prime Minister on the property tax. In 2009, do we have a clip for this, please? Kevin, Peter, you can keep that for me. Yeah, you can keep it. You can keep it. Flip-flopping. When the property tax bill was brought to Parliament in 2009, then MP Rowley, the man in government, brought it to the Parliament, and this is what Prime Minister, Opposition Leader, Kevin, do we have this one? Yes, there it is. Can you look at your screen, please? This is what he said. In my constituencies about the property tax then, 09, there is anger, there's anxiety, there's resentment on both ends of the spectrum. If you try to defend the indefensible, you will create resentment and provoke people. And that is what we have at the moment. I know a lot of people for whom $100 is a lot of money. A lot are struggling to make ends meet. Many people are struggling to make ends meet. And such persons faced with an increase, whether 200, 500 or 600, they are living on the margin. Any increase for them is hardship. That was 2009. What has changed? Flip-flop the Prime Minister now. Today, this is what he says. He said he has a good feeling that when the public is properly educated on the property tax, they would see it as reasonable. What has changed? Today's Prime Minister, and that is all that has changed. He still has no plan and no clue and no care for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So flip-flop on this property tax issue, the hypocrisy of this government. But there's something much more important, some very dangerous provisions. I'll spend about 3 minutes before we close. And this has to do with the property tax bill. First of all, they brought a property tax bill, clause 23. They said that they will they will put in a moratorium, a waiver that nobody will pay tax. It will only come into effect 30th September 2018. In the committee stage, and we'll show it in a few minutes, Minister Imber changed this to 30th September 2016. That means when that becomes law, you have to pay tax backwards from 30th September 2016 right down to the present and going forward. Now, a report in the newspaper since last year, they said the tax would begin in 2019. Ernst & Young, who looked at the bill, they said the tax will begin in 2019. Now look at this. A cabinet note, can you see that? This cabinet note, can we show the first page of the cabinet note, please? This is the second one. Cabinet note, not Kamala, not you, not me. This is a cabinet note which says that the waiver of the property tax was for the period January 2016 to September what? 2019. Can you see it? 2019. Hey, Brent. Say hello to Brent Sancho. Welcome him. 2019. Okay? So this is a cabinet note. Now I know, and other MPs who are in the cabinet know, if you see the top of this says note for cabinet, it reads cabinet is asked to approve 1, 2, 3. And then this waiver up to when? September 2019. Clear? Black and white. When you're in the cabinet, you know that any bill that goes to the parliament, it must be accompanied by something from the cabinet saying that this bill has been approved by the cabinet. So here's a cabinet note, waiver till September 2019. Bill comes to the parliament, they say nothing in the debate, and then try to sneak in the committee stage quickly. And I want you to watch Mr. Imbert when he sneaked in to change 2019 to 2016. Please put the clip up for us. It will come. God is good, it will come. I'm sure the rundown will pick up this again, eh? Kevin, can we get it, please? Okay, maybe. We try, we continue to try. So what happened is when the press asked him, the media asked Minister Imbert, well, how is opposition leader saying 2019, but you changed it to 2016? He said that 2019 was, guess what? He said it was a typo. It was a typo. I've just explained to you the process. Brent, you were there. Rudy, others were there. Likoto in the cabinet and so on. Dr. Tibari in the cabinet, many of you. May I also welcome, I just see Manuel George, I see Joseph Tony. Of course, I see our regular UNC people here. The UNC is on the move. We are on the move. Thank you all for coming. And so he said it was a typo, but I just explained the process. You have a cabinet note approved in 2019. Yeah? You have the Ernst & Young. You have the bill itself 2019. He went in there sheepishly and changed it to 2016 and wants to tell this country 2019 was a typo, a typographical error. You hear lie? That's another one of their lies. So now they want to make you pay taxes way back from September 2016. And you know what? You have to pay that back tax. And you know what? You have to pay what? Interest. When you go back, you have to pay what? Interest. And if you don't pay it, what are they coming to do? They're coming to levy. Come in your house and pick up your fridge and your stove, if you have one. In the same way, a contractor levied against the CPEP. Same way, I think Nazim will tell you about contractors want to levy on WASA. They will come in your house. They are bankrupt the country. They will come in your house to pick up chair and table, to sell, to pay all the debts that they have accrued. And so, we will continue to fight them at every step of the way. So I close tonight. I'm sorry you didn't get to see that clip. It was a really, really nice clip, but maybe another time we can show it on the typo. There are other things I will not spend time on that. I close down by saying to you that Fitzgerald Hines in the property tax debate came into Parliament and boasted 150,000 property owners submitted the evaluation forms. Now remember when they say you must send it, otherwise you're getting locked up and you have to pay money. I tear it up and I said there is no lawful duty so to do. Devon Mirage took a case through his attorneys, Anna Ramlogan and others, to say that the government and the valuations people had no authority to threaten you to collect your valuation tax forms, yeah? Not lawful. Hines come and say, well, look, 150,000 people come voluntarily and put them in. Okay? First of all, there's a question about that. If you did it under a false threat, a threat of lockup and paying money, can the government use those forms? Can the government use forms that were given under duress? Because you know, when you read that same cabinet note that I showed, I can't go into all, but you will see where they were saying, well, we have all these forms collected. So we have populated the database with valuation forms. So you know what? Those people are going to come at first. The people who file at that time, they will be the first ones that will have to be assessed for the property tax. Tonight I say, if there's any one of you who has so filed under the false impression that you would get locked up and have to pay fines, and therefore you'll be the first target of this unlawfully, illegally obtained form by the government, I ask you to contact us. We have a team of lawyers to take them to court. We have a team of lawyers. Anyone who is filed under false duress, under threat, illegally obtained valuation forms, we will stand up for you in court and outside of the court. And I have one more question. First, I do not really believe 150,000 people filed those forms in that short period. Look, when you even have a free fete, with food and everything, drink, you don't see 150,000 people line up, you know. So first of all, I will call on Fitzgerald Hines to prove that 150,000 people really line up in the Hudson to fill up these forms. I don't believe him. And given their track record of not speaking the truth, I don't believe him. But even if that's so, I made that point I made before. And so it is this. I call upon Fitzgerald Hines to tell me whether he, Fitzgerald Hines, is one of the 150,000 who filed a form. I call on Fitzgerald Hines to tell me if Prime Minister Rowley is one of the 150,000 who filed a form. Stuart Young, Farris, I call upon him to tell me which member of the government did not file this form you were threatening everybody else for. When he boasted in the parliament 150,000 filed, well, look, if it was me, I would have boasted, well, there's one of me too, is I did it, I also did it. He didn't say that. I would have said, look, my MPs did it. He never said that. I called upon him tonight to tell this country, when you were threatening people, did you take your own threats and file those valuation forms? So my friends, as we go forward, as we work together, as we say that this government has failed the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I give you the assurance tonight that the UNC is ready to bring back good governance to Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say to you further that I will not waver, I will remain focused. I'll be like the Hulk. I've been playing that song for you tonight. We will trample the problems. We will stay focused. We'll rise and reach to the sunrise, and we will overcome. And keep always in these dark times that there is always hope. There is always hope. We must never, ever, ever give up. We must have hope for a day in which we can wake up in the morning knowing that we had a restful night, that we are free from the worries of crime, and that the headlines on that day will not be in bloody red announcing deaths of mothers and children. We will live and hope for that day which we will make happen together, when the food we prepare on that day will be healthy and wholesome, will not have costed a whole week's or whole month's salary. And on such a day that we will work towards, we will not panic when we are faced with illness, and we will make sure that the hospitals for ourselves, for our children, for elderly will be fully staffed with the brightest and the bestest. Free medication for those who cannot afford. So let us work forward, let us work together for a brighter day for everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. In this land, every creed and race finds an equal place. And in this land, there is a space for everyone. Never, ever forget that. Those who make you think that the UNC cannot win an election, or that your leader cannot win an election, let us remind them, in 2010, we won an election. For those who think we need crutches that we need crutches and props to win, let them put them aside. Get thee behind me, Satan. The UNC can win alone. We can win alone. So they're spreading a narrative. And I do not want you to fall in the trap of that narrative. Rodney, that narrative is the UNC bad, PNM bad. Waste of time, all of them. So let's go form a third party. You see these third party tricks? I'm not falling for them this time. I am not falling. Your former party and all your members will fit in one maxi taxi. Where you come and you say, guess what? I'm a leader. And I want to be amongst the leaders. And I want seat here and seat here. The UNC will win this election united together. So don't get carried away by the narrative that we must do this. You know, and I think in a way there's a kind of contempt for themselves in the UNC that they do not have the confidence that together that if we can do it, we can do it, we can do it, and we will win. Have that confidence, because I have every faith in the Almighty that we will win, we will be victorious. We have a track record, we have a plan, and we will make tomorrow a brighter day. May God continue to bless you all. May God continue to bless Trinidad and Tobago. And may God continue to bless our great party, the United National Congress. Thank you.